Wrasslin podcast. We're going live on YouTube. I'm Peter.
This is Jake.
And it's telling us it's testing the YouTube bandwidth this son bitch, but not shut off on us. Yes, it didn't. It didn't.
Okay.
So at this time, we are now live. And if you're listening on iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, see they set the shit out right now. You're gonna catch this on the upload, but right now we're live. How you feel about this, Jake?
It's awesome. I think it's jumping territory. You know, Monday Nitro went live and they changed the wrestling game.
You silly. Yeah, we're going to do the exact same thing. Man, we got a lot to fucking talk about.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk a lot about the lot that we have to talk about.
Well, do you have you want to just skip the plus or minus this week and go into the...
Quickly. ACC champions, Tar Heels. We got a #1 seed in the NCAAs. Another good one to me was Chris Jericho's heel fucking shit that he's doing right now. It's to perfection.
Oh, yeah.
Worse is the decisions that the WWE is making for WrestleMania. Moving forward, we finally got some matches and whatnot, and I feel they're not in the best interest of the WrestleMania brand.
Okay, yeah, I'll go best. I'm going to say when we had great weather on voting day, I got to walk to the poll and everything. It was nice. Felt good to vote. And then I would say worst. Yeah, I'm gonna say WrestleMania. The WrestleMania card. I know there's a lot of injuries and everything, but it doesn't look like they're doing much to help it. So I'm gonna say that's probably my worst. It doesn't feel like Mania season. We're 2-3 weeks out. 2 weeks out. So
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It sucks. So I mean, hopefully we'll get some views at the bottom as soon as we see one.
Yeah.
It'll probably be Oscar Wilson. I hope. So when it shows up, we're gonna give you a big old shout out. But until then, it's gonna be up for viewing regardless.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Dude, what the hell are we gonna talk about? You want to go and jump into Roadblock?
Well, you want to talk a little bit about news and talk a little bit.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, of course, we'll discuss it later. But Bray Wyatt, as advertised, did not wrestle on Roadblock, and it was because, as reported by Dave Meltzer, was rumors he apparently is hurt. His lower back's hurt. And taking bumps right now is kind of not what they wanted. I know a lot of people speculated that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to have Brock and Bray feud after Mania, so that's where kind of people started thinking that it was just a kind of creative pulling back. But apparently, it might not only be that, but it might be that he's also kind of injured.
You're selling it. I'm not buying it. Nah, fuck that. Like, because no, he's. Well, I guess also you can talk about how even on Roadblock...
Wait, what do you not believe, that he's the creative or the injury?
I don't believe that creative backed off of a feud.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't believe that. Well, that was the speculation prior to the reports that he was actually maybe not very seriously injured. But another injury update, Neville, he's going to be out for about 3 months, expected to have surgery. I don't know if you watched the Jericho match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't notice it in the match, but
it was quick.
Yeah, rewatching it and everything, you saw how Jericho reacted and everything. But yeah, he, what did he do here?
He basically
fractured his ankle.
He fractured his ankle. He basically pulled a Bo Jackson. Now, I don't know if you understand the what I mean by he pulled a Bo Jackson, but Bo Jackson, when he basically snapped his hip out of place, is because his force was so fast. When the guy tackled him, his body was still moving. So his body was like, holy shit, I'm still going, but I've come to a complete stop. So it separated. Same with Neville. It was like the move where he drops underneath between the person's legs, and his foot, he kept going, but his foot caught grip of the mat, and that's when it turned. So, before, I guess, going into the Raw match itself, I think Lil Nate didn't recognize it.
Oh yeah. We'll get into that. Yeah, it definitely looked like Jericho realized it, and he was kind of trying to adjust the match to that, and it looked like Lil Nate had a rough night already, taking the bump from Roman Reigns. Might have had his head jangled up, not trying to keep the maybe what has been discussed earlier in the day, the plans.
Yeah.
But we also have a few Mania announcements this week that came up. They didn't make too big of a deal about it on television, but the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the Usos versus the Dudley Boys. Also, Ryback and Kalisto's official, and the New Day versus League of Nations is official as of right now.
And Jacqueline will make it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So what do you think about this Mania card shaping up? Kind of the undercard being laid out, and we already have the main event, so it's we can kind of see exactly what we're going to be getting. One or two matches still to be put on the card, I would say.
Speaking of Mania, and we can make it quick, because we got 3 weeks, so we got 3 more Mania.
Oh yeah, but I was just wondering what you thought about these matches that are officially announced.
I know, pre-show.
For sure.
Pre-show, like Kalisto versus Ryback is a waste of everyone's time, especially with this new kind of like lectury, sort of annoying Ryback kind of a character who's like, fuck it, call me Goldberg, and Kalisto, who's been treated like a sack of potatoes over the past 4 weeks. He's not, to all of a sudden say, okay, we're going to put him up in this sort of David versus Goliath sort of match.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real reason why we even would suspect that he would win, other than the fact that it's WrestleMania. Is one of those, the Force, like wins with the Empire Strikes Back. What's the other one?
Return of the Jedi.
It's like Return of the Jedi. All the baby faces win, on exception of one. And if he goes over, it doesn't speak much for Ryback, being that, okay, they need credible heels, but as soon as you give him momentum, you give him 3 weeks to have momentum as a heel, say a heel, and then have him lose to someone, a babyface, a notable babyface who had been treated like shit, who hasn't been on the small guy with a big fight in him too much. So
I hear what you're saying, but I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was really good last year, and
you thought so?
Yeah, especially
the ending was.
Well, yeah. Of course, it's a battle royal. It's not gonna be too exciting, but I liked how they played They played with Curtis Axel. They had the Damian Sandow Miz thing, and then they had the Big Show win it. I think that plays into a lot of storylines, gets a lot of guys over. They had Deo Tommy from NXT. So they did a good job just making, just kind of like how they do with the Rumble, making a few guys matter, making a few standouts, and also taking care of some storylines in the process. So I liked it. I think it's going to be a good curtain jerker for Mania every year. I think it's guaranteed. Pretty fun.
All the people that we're just speaking about, like, where are they now? Like, where are they now? Let's just talk about, like, the final 4 people.
Sure.
Sandow, Miz, Big Show.
But as far as the show and the enjoyment itself, it was fun to watch last year, and that's what. Yeah, I was just speaking about it's fun to watch. Not necessarily what happens after.
The only thing that's going to save the saving grace for this, because one of the things I proposed was that maybe, just possibly, and I heard it's funny, I heard it on another podcast sort of discussion call-in thing. It's like, why not put the Intercontinental Belt even up to make it, sweeten the pot a little bit? But what I'm waiting for is a triumphant exit to the career of Mark Henry.
You think that's what's going down?
And maybe the fact that they've announced it now, because we got the matches. We got basically the WrestleMania card moving forward. So if anything, you have to promote over the next 2 weeks at least who's going to be participating in the Battle Royal. And this next Raw, I'm going to say, is going to be a lull. It's going to be like...
You think so?
Oh, yeah. They threw everything out at us this week. Returns, sort of comeuppances, decisions, matches. They even kept the Divas off to sort of push what they're doing with... they kept the women's wrestlers off to push the Divas, because they already have that. What more? How much more can you promote that? You can, but like, it's not like they needed them on the show to push that storyline even more. It's the same old.
The storyline is already written with that match.
Yeah.
I would say it's a 3-way from the women that all got brought up this summer in NXT and kind of made waves from the underground up.
So, 8 months, 9 months? It took them 9 months to make it to Mania. And I would consider the anticipation for that Divas match is it's so high. It's Sasha Banks, it's Becky Lynch, it's Charlotte Flair with Rick at ringside. I would say people are more anticipating Sasha Banks possibly winning the belt that say who A takes over fucking Monday Night Raw,
That's not be true.
or who walks away the WWE champion.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Ain't that wild?
Yeah, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would say until you mentioned that, I didn't think of it. But yeah, for sure, I'm way more excited about that Divas triple threat than I am the two main events. I would say Brock and Dean. It was neck and neck with the Divas Championship match.
I think the crowd's gonna be super hot.
And look, hey, I think that might be Oscar.
I think that might be Oscar. It may be Oscar or Akita. I'm not sure, but either one, I'm gonna give the shout out to Oscar. Not Oscar. Oscar, because you sent a tweet saying that you couldn't wait for the show, and then I'm gonna send a shout out to Kita because she got in touch with me yesterday about doing a roundtable WrestleMania Skype thing. If you want to jump in on it, we're trying to get is me, you, hopefully, if you're free, Kita and Nate.
Word.
And Jay. I think Jay is in on it as well. So
nice, yeah. Sure, we'll talk about that later, but probably. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves, talking about Mania and Raw and everything. We did have something in the road, like a roadblock. What'd you think of that?
So we're not gonna do quickly like our third.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We have a third. We've been counting down the top 5 of our personal Mania moments throughout, starting 2 weeks ago, leading into Mania. We had a few good ones. I remember I had Kurt Angle and Brock. You had Rock and Hogan last week?
No, that was going to be... Thanks for the spoiler, dude.
Sorry,
last week was it was WrestleMania 3.
Oh yeah, the Steamboat and
yeah, and
Savage.
it was more like my aunt Magnolia's response to it than the actual match itself.
That's awesome.
And then my first was the cash-in, last year's cash-in.
Oh yeah, and then mine was Goldust and Roddy Piper. But what's you? I guess since I already unintentionally spoiled it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're a regular Dave Meltz over there, buddy. But if you don't like it, I apologize. I mean, it's not like I'm going to go to the deep depths of like WrestleManias and try to pull out like
that was
these smart marks. But like Hogan versus The Rock was one of the best double turns, one of the best crowd reactions, one of the best sort of stories moving forward. Like everything about this match, the story, because it wasn't a lot of wrestling in this fucking match, but it was perfect.
Oh yeah. I think the WWE expected Hogan to be heel because that's how the way they're working with the NWO and everything, and of course you would cheer The Rock, but I guess the Toronto crowd remembered, WrestleMania 6.
And Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Going over into fucking what's the name of that stadium?
I forget I forget
Toronto Dome. What do you call it? Toronto Dome.
I forget the name. That was cool.
It was great. Everything about it. I think, and I almost think that on the fly they changed how the match was going to go.
I think that's how it's been said. Yeah.
Especially like the strap part, I think him taking he took 2 rock. He gave him 3 rock bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he made him to the baby face, and I don't know if even Nash and Hall was supposed to go out and turn. And I think it was like on the fly, like, dude, we got to do something about this. So I don't know. I've watched probably that match more than I've watched any other match that WrestleMania has ever given. I could turn it on now and be just as entertained, and my hair would stand up, and I get emotional, choked up. Like you can't beat that match. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. Two pros going at it.
That's pretty good. But I picked Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 30, of course. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool with the long storyline, Bill Ball Stadium of who to cheer for that night, and then you tie in the Connor's cure and everything, and then the confetti flying, falling down. That's definitely one of mine. I know it was.
And then it went like this.
Sure, but that Mania match was pretty awesome. I thought. It was great, yeah. It's awesome, the confetti and everything. So that's the one I pick. What'd you think about that, Peter?
Shorter. But that's Triple H for you. Even this weekend, we got Triple H. We got the Triple H fucking Weekend Monday showcase
for sure.
of him getting hit on that fucking monitor.
Oh yeah.
And the big RKO powerbomb spot they did on Daniel Bryan on the announce table. They neglected to move. They moved those fucking monitors for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And that was one of the reasons he hit that. And I was like, oh man, the monitor is gone babyface.
That's true. And you mentioned that it was a big Triple H weekend. What did you think of I guess Roadblock as a whole? We can kind of just go over our pluses and minuses of the show.
Well, how about this? Let's just go through the matches themselves and say who won and who lost, and then we'll go over the more important ones that stood out because there was some that skip.
Okay, yeah, we had the New Day versus Sheamus and Barrett. The New Day took control, took that one.
And who won that one? Did I say New Day?
Oh, who won?
Yeah, the predictions, man.
We picked the New Day.
Okay, so
there was only one match. Oh yeah, there was only one match that we disagreed on, and that was the match where you said Kevin Owens.
Them.
The same thing. And then we had a Paul Heyman promo, Y2J promo, Chris Jericho.
Well, let's just go to the matches.
Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger.
Which was awkward.
Yeah, good little match. But no one in the building thought Jericho was going to lose. It was kind of a squash match. Enzo and Cass versus the Revival, Dash and Dawson for the NXT titles. That was my favorite show of the match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And versus Natty.
Yeah,
Charlotte wins that.
Wins that.
Bray with Harper.
So the thing about Roadblock is that I think the expectation, very much like the Beast in the East, and very much like to make us think, even for a second, that there was a chance that things want to get shaken up. You anything to shake? Oh yeah, maybe. And people are talking for hours on end, and the speculations of glorified house show, they're fun as fuck to watch. I didn't watch. I got to watch it Monday, right? I didn't do the New Day podcast. I had to watch that. I had to run some errands. I was like, yo, people have been complaining how much it sucked. What did you feel about it?
I thought it was kind of like drashes. But I would say the first match, there was a shit ton of botches, and that kind of took me out of the first.
Still fun to watch. I enjoyed it. They were such good performers, even with the botches. It's like
no. Sheamus was fucking up every move he did.
Ooh.
What's going on here? You think it?